I need to share us. And we're live.
And we're live.
Hello, hello. Happy
Hey.
Friday.
Hey,
Hey guys. Are we sharing? Are we on? So how does this work?
So basically, you go to the Young Leaders Conference page, and then you share to your pitch.
Gotcha. I just did it.
We've only been
Share
doing
us to your family, Joya.
I just don't know, guys.
So every time we say share, Joy don't be sharing
At all.
That's what it is. She never shares.
Share us to your family, Joya, so your mom can get on.
Oh God.
No, that's funny.
Type
That's
of
hilarious.
Come on in, guys.
Hey, Miss Chevelle is already here.
Here we go.
Hey,
Hey, Chevelle.
I have less GP. I meant to say let's go.
Come on in. Come on in.
This was on my
I'm
glasses
used
on
to our
time to see.
music. That's why I'm just.
Olivia Simmons, she's so faithful. We love her.
Hey, Olivia.
I just gave her a nickname.
Hey, from Michigan. Let us know where you're watching from when you come in.
That's funny.
Miss Adelia.
I know. Adelia, she's so faithful.
She's the most faithful.
Adelia does
always
our readers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure she's amazing.
She is.
Absolutely.
Okay, I've shared to everybody. I could share too.
I know. I'm sharing still.
Okay,
well, actually, I have several groups I can share too. So I'm
I go on YouTube to share.
Say it again.
How do I share it with my family? The link.
Oh my God, Joya!
Go do it. Look, we do this.
Hey, David. Joya, what are we gonna do with you?
Right, my strength. That's all y'all can
share.
Welcome,
well,
family.
First of all,
family.
Oh, I'm sorry. I like this new background.
Oh yeah,
it's nice.
We got it.
So
Great.
You're right.
Hey, Kevin. Thank you for joining in. We love when we have guys in the room. We need your voice.
Hey, Kevin.
We're praying for all of our Black men everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yes, and yes.
My Lord.
Thank you. Guys, I feel like we should just go ahead and get started because, we have a long day ahead of us and everybody has to do something afterwards, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Peach. So good to see you, sweetheart.
So welcome, everyone. Welcome, family, to another episode of All Things New.
Yes.
I am with my sisters, Miss Dana Tyler she's to my right? Dr. Matisa Wilbin.
Everybody.
And the one and only Miss Teresa F. Thomas.
Hey.
How are you ladies doing today?
We're making it.
It's
pretty
Friday.
Good. Right.
What does everyone say? This is still the day the Lord has made.
Still the day. After all that's going on, this is still the day that the Lord has made. And we
everything that we're facing is still
we
the
will
day.
rejoice.
That's right.
We have no other choice. So before we get started, of course, we want to thank our executive producer, the CEO of the Moore Group Enterprise, and the founder of YLC, Young Leaders Conference, Mr. Mark Moore. We want to say thank you, sir. Thank you. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. We celebrate you.
We celebrate you.
Family, if you are in there and you are not following YLC TV, you are doing yourself a disservice. Go click subscribe now. It has so many juicy contents, like All Things New.
Absolutely.
But so much more. It's a holistic approach, if you will. I promise you'll enjoy it. You won't. You will be satisfied. Absolutely. So, you ready to rock and roll, guys?
I'm ready. This is
another thing, Jay. We have to say something about our sponsor because we are the only YLC TV show that has a paid sponsor.
Yes.
That's Bowers Enterprises, and they are the leading financial consultants for millennials. You can connect with them at bowersenterprises.biz.
Awesome. Thank you. So, this is a shame, the tell the truth, shame the devil type of transparent moment I'm going to have with my sisters.
Okay.
Audience will come back to you. I promise I'm going to bring y'all in, but I just need to talk to my sisters for 2.5 seconds.
Let's have it.
So when we talked about this thing last week, I was not excited about this. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to watch this documentary. I didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah,
And
it's deep.
not because like I just don't know how to. The only thing I can say is I don't know how to compartmentalize this type of stuff. I don't know how to suppress it when I need to suppress it, and I don't know how to bring it back up when I need to bring it back up. It's always up, right? And so, family, what I'm talking about, if you don't know, the ladies of All Things New, we had a watch party last night, and we viewed the documentary 13th. The 13th is a documentary that's it talks about or explores the history of race and criminal justice system, right? Based off of the 13th Amendment that basically said of the Constitution that basically says it's unconstitutional for someone to be a slave. So they was freeing everybody, right? You free, you free, you free, you free. However, had to have a disclaimer, right? The little small words at the bottom. The disclaimer was unless you were a criminal. Unless you did something bad, unless you was in prison. And so the director, Ava DuVernay, she unraveled that loophole. She went into that loophole and she told us about basically, when I watched it, I said, whatever her goal was, it was accomplished with me. Because she unraveled that thing and she talked about how she correlated the two because as Black people, we have the highest rate in prison, right? We're most incarcerated because of the unfair justice system, right? And she correlated incarceration, and she said all it is an extension of slavery.
Right.
And I'm like, look, you see what they trying to do to us still? Because again, we are 3, 5, 7. It all depends on what type of crime. Times more to get go to jail, get convicted, all of that than white people.
They have it set up that way.
They have it set up that way. And the crazy thing, like from the beginning to the end, I was like glued to the TV. The beginning of the 2.5 seconds when it first started, and our beloved President Obama came on and said that United States of America has a population of 5% of the whole world. However, we have a population of 25% of prisoners.
It's higher than that.
It's higher than that now.
It's 42%.
And that was
42%, Matisa?
Yeah, so Black males are 6% of the population, but 42% of the prison population.
Because this documentary was done 4 years ago, and it's so relevant even right now.
It is.
Like it's even more now. It's like we really live in this.
Yep.
So I wanted to just literally just have a conversation. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to like even unravel some more, explore some more of like what y'all's thoughts were about the documentary and the different things that, because we can talk about it all, like the mass incarceration, the unfair justice system of how they were given offenses of small minor offenses, sending us to jail, all of that. What were y'all thoughts? What are y'all thoughts about the documentary?
I'm like, somebody said they watched it, I think Adelia, and said she was heated. Like, it was just, it's eye-opening because you're already aware. We know what's out there. We watch it all the time. I mean, we know it, we live it. But just to see it laid out in layman's terms, like it's no way you can't understand this. And I'm trying to get, like, I hadn't watched any of the deaths, just like myself, just watched the videos, replay and hear people call out. And at the end of the movie, of course, they played them back to back to back. And it was just devastating. It was like a proverbial slap in the face. Like, this is happening. And like, and it was a comment I made to myself, like, how could they hang people in trees? And then it's all of them standing there taking a picture next to the person they just hung. And that's how the officer can kneel on this guy's neck till he kills him with his hands in his pocket. Like, they've been doing it for years. And so for me, it just reiterated my push. I was talking to Joya earlier today about I'm going to do what I can for my part. Whatever I can do for my part, I am going to do it to make sure we get our justice.
Right.
I
think the thing that I thought about it, number one, I do like, and Joya, you laid it out really well at the beginning. I do like how it basically takes us from slavery until today. A lot of people, they'll dismiss that period of time and say, oh, slavery is over. You were emancipated. That was my ancestors. I wasn't a part of slavery, but you've been part of the slave system since its inception.
Right.
You've been privileged,
whether you know it or not.
Yeah, to be a part of it. And those of us who are Black have had to deal with the oppression of it. But I really believe that, there are certain big themes that I kind of pointed out that I was like, man, it makes us really look back. I like the fact that it looked at the whole system. It wasn't about Republicans or Democrats.
Yeah.
Both of them have been privy and a part of all that we see. But I
both of them.
Yeah, both of them. I specifically wanted to talk about the war on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've not seen it, you need to see
the War on Black.
Please go and watch it.
Absolutely. But it was created as, just kind of buzzwords in Nixon's era because he was the law and order president. Does that sound familiar?
Does that sound familiar?
Does that sound familiar? The law and order president. But then here comes Ronald Reagan and he puts teeth to it and he's like, oh no, look at these people, they're doing these drugs. And it really became the war on Black people. And sentencing, as we know, for people who use cocaine, who were mostly white, was much different than people who used crack, who were mostly Black. So that started the perpetuation of Black people in the criminal justice system. And I don't know if you all paid attention. For those who haven't seen it, it gives us the numbers and how from one period of time to the next, the number of people who are imprisoned from 1980 to 1990, it increased by 1 million people.
I know. I could not believe that.
I had to pause. I was over here like, 5, 7,
1 million
what
people.
in the world?
What in the world? I just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying, Dr. Matisa, because the thing that stuck out for me the most is not only how it's so systematic, but like even Black people buy into it. Because I know I was one of those kids who grew up in the 80s and you just say no, and you wore the red ribbon, and we went to the anti-drug riots. And of course, when you have family members or you see people who are on drugs, of course you're like, well, yeah, drugs are bad and we don't want them and all those things, not recognizing that we're to the demise of our own people, not recognizing that the system has been designed for them to fail.
Wow.
So even though, of course nobody wants crime, but we also don't want a certain people group to be villainized or categorized as criminals just based on who they are or their skin color, or because it's an extension of, what slavery was. Because again, our prison systems are an economic system.
Right. Well, and to that point, Dana, I think that's such a great point, because I was thinking about the fact that, you said it really well when you talked about how drugs became criminalized as opposed to looking at it from a medical perspective.
Right.
So it's not, we need to get you into therapy to help you get off of this. You
Yes.
are a criminal.
Incarcerated.
Yeah. So we're going to incarcerate you. And if we look at like parallels today, the opioid crisis, the same thing. When it was Black people, it was, you're a criminal, you're bad.
Right.
We need to lock you up because we want to keep you from our women.
Right.
Other conversation. But when it came to white people, it was, oh my goodness, we need to look at this. We need to put
it's the issue. It's an illness.
It's a mental illness.
Yeah.
And you said that when you talked about, we need to keep you from our women. Dr. Matisa, a part of that documentary told us about the Birth of a Nation film and how it was so huge, how the media was connected to playing that role in our head. And all I could do, I paused it and I was just like, oh my God, I was a victim to it, because the media would have me thinking like all Black guys are thugs, every area that, and so they had the one, because it was one part of the Birth of a Nation where the white lady jumped to kill herself so the Black man would rape her. And how the Ku Klux Klan started burning crosses. And at first they weren't burning crosses, right? Did I miss that?
Now that movie glorified it, and they were using it like as something that would be sensational in a movie, and then they started doing it.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
So what's y'all thoughts on the media part of all of this?
But it's I think it's a play on emotions or getting people charged to do something. Like even Nancy Reagan's, just say no to drugs. And it's just like, it puts in your mindset that, just say no. We don't want those drugs in our neighborhoods. And these guys are bad guys. And then like, what was the word they used? Were they called these kids, they were
Animals.
super
Predators.
Super predators. These are super predators in our neighborhood. So it's like they're telling us we're going to protect you from the people that are like you. They're super predators in your neighborhood.
Right.
Not seeing that across the entire spectrum of the United States of America, it only adversely impacts us. And then even how they say another overt operation is coming, another covert operation. It's still, it happens all the time. And I think media, like, you know, you have to be selective about what you watch. Like, we know Fox over CNN, you're going to get a whole different perspective of what's going on seriously. But when you're tuned into that and that's what is feeding you all the time, you believe it, right? You start believing it.
Because we don't want to research ourselves, right? And it is true. There's, especially now, there's so much information that's not credible, and we just don't know what we're being fed. But the thing that I want to talk about, even with the super predator, that is so interesting, that really became this image. So you're seeing these black guys, right, on the news, this
started away to jail, and
look, they're getting them in the middle of the night, hair all over their head,
crazy, looking like animals. Yeah.
You know, they are basically, they're being carried away as if they're guilty, although they haven't even, the evidence and all that hasn't come out. And they're called super predators. But if you remember the Central Park 5, which we discovered did not do what they were accused of doing
at all.
The reason, if you see the documentary, When They See Us, the reason they rounded all those kids up is because there were these images of these super predators. Trump had put out this full page ad to say, bring back the death penalty, and everybody just wanted them off the street. So what do? They went to the neighborhoods, rounded up all these black guys, and imprisoned them for up to 11 years, and they had done nothing.
Nothing.
The power of the media and how they can put those images in our minds.
I was reading this thing. I can't remember what website I was on, and it was talking about how 13% of sexual assault came from white victims. And so it was one situation where this guy, he was innocent, right? You know, of course, but the white lady said she was raped by a black man. Everyone was his witness. He was at a fish fry. So they put him in a line, and they showed her her pictures. And she pointed out him. Well, they end up, so he ends up getting arrested and all of that great stuff. Eventually it comes out, the DNA came out and wasn't him. But do you know that they said the reason why, a lot of times the reason why is because it was a mistaken eyewitness. And I don't know if you guys ever been in this situation, and I didn't know why it burnt me. Like, it would just, my blood would boil all the time. I used to think it was because I just don't like to be compared to people, but I think it's because it's my black pride. But they said it was one of those all black people look alike. Like, have y'all been in a situation where they're like, oh, are you this person? And I didn't understand why I would shut stuff like that down. But when I was reading those statistics, it was like 57% of it is because we were mistaken identity, mistaken eyewitness, because they feel like we all look alike. I was so.
But imagine what those descriptions look like. Two, brown skin,
black,
short hair. You know, who could that be? That could be
right.
I've been on campus, 2 women of color who are faculty members, and they would always call me the other woman. I'm like, there are 2 of us. Like, you can't get it.
Right. You can't distinguish between 2.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure that happens a lot.
It's one of those call them out. I saw a meme the other day, and it was like, black girl with the long name, correct them every time they mess your name.
That's funny.
There, like, correct them. We correct them every time they mess your name up.
Yeah.
But Dr. Matisa, you said another thing, and this part broke my. I'm gonna start crying now. It broke my heart when I forgot the guy's name. Y'all, what was the man's name?
Khalif Browder.
Yeah, that was super sad.
Innocent. Yeah. And so if we can, the only thing is, and I think I told this to Teresa, it is not always easy to be woke, right? Because again, I don't know how to do it, y'all. Like, I'll be all the way 10 and have to bring it back. It's not always easy to be woke. Like, sleep is good sometimes, right? It's hard. It's hard seeing reality. It's hard to open your eyes and know the different things that you're facing, that you're going through. Like, we hear about it, but still it's like, okay, if I don't think about it, I don't see it, I don't study it, then I'll be okay. But it is imperative that we become woke.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that we can change something. That's the only way things can get done. And go ahead. Sorry.
Well, not just that, but I think the other thing about this documentary that is so important is you literally see the systems that we're talking about, right? So it showcases not just the criminal justice system, but it talks about police brutality. And I think the statement that's made, Michelle Alexander wrote the book, The New Jim Crow, which is phenomenal if you've not read it. But she basically says the prison industrial complex, which is another thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, and I read that book.
It authorizes police brutality. So to the point you made earlier, Julia, we could drop what's happening now in the midst of that documentary, and it would be the same.
Exact same.
Right? That police officers, law enforcement officers are essentially unleashed and authorized to go pick up these criminal super predator type males in particular, although we know there are women as well. They can do with them what they will, because the reality is, and I want y'all to think about this, we look at trials, we look at the arrests, we look at all of that, but when we drop people off in prison, there's nothing. There's nothing. We don't have inside tracks. We don't, it's just recent. I think Obama was the first sitting president to ever go.
The first sitting president to even walk into a prison.
We don't care. We put him in there, and that's the end. Like, do with him what you will.
However you ask my dad. My dad has been in the prison system. He was a correctional officer for over 20 years. And so we were talking about that, the documentary. And I was just asking, like, Daddy, how was it? Like, what was it like in there? Like, did you see, the injustice and different things like that? And he was like, of course. He said, and so I'm like, wait, Daddy, because I know my daddy, he about it too. He saved 5 whole bill, but that's what he's fighting from. But so he was saying though, he said, I asked him, I said, Daddy, was it anything that they gave y'all in your mind? Like, was it something that y'all had to take a class? This is how you deal with it. He was like, not really. He said they just brung people in from off the street, racist white guys that are, that all of these people to come in and aid these black guys that they have no idea what they've been through, because the system you see, it's not a holistic approach. They're just trying to do a symptom. Like, I'm going to take care of this and that's all. But we don't know what's going through, what these people were going through before. And the documentary said something, and it made me, I started looking for a job at the correction. I was like, I'm going to become a correctional officer. And then my daddy said,
you can go in there and make a difference.
Can't do it.
You can be a nurse. You can be a nurse.
Like, why weren't there teachers in prisons? Why aren't they social workers in prisons? Why aren't these people? And then
they're supposed to be getting them ready to come back into society,
to transition them out to society.
But there are some prisons that do have those things, but a lot of them don't. And in our system,
we didn't have them before either, because we always talk about them like dehumanizing people. And I remember even like all the legislation that says, why would we spend all this money in prisons, kind of like writing people off? This should be going toward education. And that sounds like a plausible and logical thing until you realize that the people who are systematically being put into prison in higher numbers than anybody else is Black people.
And they said that the spending of prisons, like building the prisons, they said, I read it was triple rate of spending on the prison building is triple rate of spending on pre-K to 12, like for over 30 years. Like prisons being built, triple the rate of pre-K through 12th grade over 30 years.
Well, let me tell you this: when I was teaching at my institution in Kentucky, we actually had a program called it wasn't college, it was Shakespeare Behind Bars. Reading Behind Bars. We literally took our students to the prison. And this is to Mark's point about prison not being about rehabilitation. And that's what I was going to say before. It's not as an institution about rehabilitation. We do that for youth, but we don't do that for adults. Right. But what I was going to say is we took students there. They loved it. So we actually had our students engage with prison. It was safe. Wow. The way we did it was great. They were able to open each other's eyes about things. that program was canceled because we got a new warden in, and the warden basically said that inmates do not need to learn and to interact with college students.
Wow, God.
So to that point, he was not interested at all for of anything humane that these prisoners could do.
Wow.
That's
And
so
that's
crazy.
how a lot of people feel.
Right.
And you know what? And the one a comment Mark said about he hated the part about hearing Donald Trump say the good old days, and it's just like it's unless you know, you have no idea what his reference point is. But for him saying, even in rallies or in gatherings, like, back in the good old days, they would have carried him out on the stretcher. Back in the good old days, they would have dragged him out of here. And I'm just like, do you guys not see this? Do you not hear it? Like, do you understand the good old days, make America great again? They're great again is something that suppresses blacks. They're great again. I saw a young lady.
That's subliminal messaging that they were using.
Right.
You know, they were saying it was you couldn't say nigger anymore. So
right.
great again is basically saying get these niggas out.
Yeah, but it's like the MAGA hat is the new Ku Klux Klan outfit. You have a MAGA hat on, you a KKK. You might as well be a white supremacist. And what makes me so angry is just to for people to they hear it and not believe it, or they'll say, "Well, racism isn't as bad as it used to be, or we're getting better." No, it's not. This and everything that's coming to light today, it happens all the time. We just have now. We can record it. We can see it every day playing out, but it happens all the time. Like, this is the world that we live in, and then with the president in the office of America, the greatest position you can be in the world, and you're glorifying violence. This is what you want. Right. This is the person. Like, that's why we have to have the woke vote. We need to have Dewana on here. I know Mark is going to do something on politics coming up soon on YLC TV, but we really have to vote. Like, we need the woke vote. The primaries were the other day. How many people had a chance to go out and vote? Like, they're suppressing opportunities even to vote. Like, in your neighborhoods, like, oh, it doesn't work. Or if you come here, you got to stand in these long lines, and you go in a predominant neighborhood.
They were in lines forever.
I know. Yeah. But it's like, because they want you to turn around and go away. But every vote, and this is what we need to understand, every vote against our candidate or somebody that can come in with some sound judgment that would probably prayerfully listen to wise counsel, they're like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to vote for him. So you want this clown back in again? Like, that's ridiculous.
It's really Teresa.
Office of president, but I don't respect this clown that's in the office right now.
And it's about the whole thing. And this was my question I was going to ask you. It's really about, like, really educating yourself. Start with, guys, if you have not watched this documentary, I'm telling you, you
have to watch it.
Not awake. I was asleep, y'all. I was knocked out. It was a good sleep, but I am woke now. But start with this documentary, because it starts there. We have to educate ourselves on all of the criminal justice system. And what I wanted to ask you all was, what is, like, one thing, and I want to ask our audience, what is one thing that you feel like you can do to make a movement, to start a movement? And I'm not talking about the whole wide world, right? Because we can't change the whole world, but we can start somewhere. And because I had this conversation with my dad, I was like, Daddy, you know, our generation we're hardhead, we are entitled, we don't listen, sometimes we're disrespectful. But I said, but these are the type of people that you gonna need to really make a movement and some change to happen. I'm on that whole thing that we can't let you go and eat Burger King and not say anything. We got to move some stuff. We got to break some stuff. We got to shake some stuff. And so I wanted to know with you guys, like, what is one thing that you feel like you can personally do to help this? Like, we this is our third episode on racism, riots, and reform. Third, and we got to keep talking about it.
Yeah.
I would just say for me, I know that my call is as an educator, and that's in the classroom or outside of it. That is my call, my vocation. And I really am grateful that God has given me a platform that crosses racial lines. Mm-hmm. And I say that because, you know, I don't want the conversation to devolve or be minimized to a Black versus white, because that's not what this is about. I do understand, unfortunately, that race becomes the hot button area, and that becomes the easy divide.
Yeah.
But I've educated students who are white, black, and otherwise, and I've had a number of them email me or inbox me and say, "Oh my goodness, everything that you've been teaching us in class, we're seeing it play in front of our eyes." So I feel like they're going to be better in their areas just because of what I've been able to help them do. And I would just say that it's important. If there's any movement that's going to be made, it has to be across party line,
right,
gender, race, class. No one group of people is going to be able to do it, and that's why I'm kind of hopeful. It is disgusting, it is sickening, the things that we see, but I'm hopeful because I am seeing those cross conversations, and I think if we're sustaining that and moving towards those solutions, not just saying, okay, we want to do whatever you want us to do. I'm not saying that at all. Our voices have to be heard, but I think we have to try to bring as many people in as possible.
Right.
I think for me, I honestly, I wish there was a Black Panther movement in the church. Like I need to join the Black Panther. That's what I want to do. I need look. There's another young lady in my complex that is of my persuasion, and I saw her the other day when she was walking her dog. I was walking mine. She was like, "Hey, you good? You straight? Like some jump off? Let me know. I'm up front off this street." I was like, "I got you. I got the back half. You got the front. Like, what we gonna do in this whole neighborhood?" But my thing is, I really want to. Like, I feel like we should hit them where it hurts. And so I'm all for the educating, especially for our people that are asleep, that need to be woke so they can even just wake up to change, wake up to voting, wake up to get into where their voice can be heard that's been suppressed for so long. But like, let's do something else. Like I keep going back to Louis Farrakhan, but I'm on some eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Now, for every one of us that they kill, if we kill one of them, then they're going to sit down and have like, "Oh, wait a minute, these Black people going crazy. Y'all crazy." And then I heard a young lady that Kev on stage posted where she, they were interviewing her like, "Why are you burning down Target? Why are you burning down the Hall of Fame? This is your neighborhood." No, this is y'all neighborhood. Like and she gave the perfect analogy of 400 years of playing Monopoly, and we bring you in to work for us. Everything you build is for us, and then we turn it over to you to say, "Okay, now you guys can participate." And then everything we try to do, like bring up anything like Tulsa they named, and then other places where they burned us down, they knock us back down to the ground, and then you're mad at me because I'm out here burning down a Target. She was like, "Forget y'all Target. Like, we're playing at a disadvantage." But the only way you're gonna listen to us is if we're doing exactly what they're doing right now. And she ended her little interview with one phrase: "You better be glad Black people just want justice, because if we wanted revenge, you gonna know something." Right. We're not our grandparents, and I'm old enough to be some of y'all grandparents, but I'm not them either. I'm not my grandparents. Like,
but if you do that to get people to
I just wanted to step in for a moment and let all of our multicultural friends know that
I was about to come in.
Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to clarify. We don't support the verbiage of Minister Louis Farrakhan here at YLC. Actually, eye for eye comes from the Bible. I need someone to let Teresa know that Farrakhan did not come up with that. And we do not sanction homicide here at YLC. We want you to keep Teresa in her purse. She's not feeling well. We're going to let her rest. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Don't you know they're gonna play this in court when they bring y'all up on charges? This is evident.
The one that has been saying
she's just going to jail.
I'm going to come in and save my sister. No,
we just wanted on behalf of upper management and HR, ironically the department that Teresa worked for. On behalf of HR, we want to let you know that
that is so funny.
That's hilarious.
Do not endorse the honorable minister, but
murder.
That's hilarious.
Said, keep hope alive. No justice, no peace. Y'all talk to her, please. Y'all talk to her. Thank you.
That is hilarious.
I agree with what Louis Farrakhan said about the Bible. That it's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That's all. I'm just saying, have a conversation. They'll have a conversation with us.
But what I was going to ask you even about that, Teresa, because I understand the sentiment, the raw sentiment still of we got to get people's attention. But I guess my question is, once you get people's attention, what now?
What do you do next? Yep, that's my thing.
Once you get people's attention, and I feel like people have it. I feel like we've got attention now. You've got all these businesses pouring millions of dollars into racial sensitivity training and all of those kinds of stuff. And so I think we need to take advantage of this moment.
Me too.
We need to get all these dollars. We need to, and I think Evangelist Shane said it early, like use this money and put it into our businesses and our community.
Our business.
That's going to help.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with educating yourselves because it's eye-opening and it helps you. One of the things that I'm going to do is, be a little bit more diligent about reading the legislation and its impact. Because of course, when you're in that season of voting, they're appealing to your fears. They're appealing to the things that concern you. Not just like I said, being a child of the 80s that just say no to drugs. So now anything that I see that's a drug initiative or anything, coddling drugs, we're not doing that. Because, I've seen them in my neighborhood. I've seen what they do, what's destructive about it. But I also know from another perspective of what drives them to go sell drugs. If they can't get a job legally, if they can't get a decent education, if you look at the different school systems in different areas, I grew up in San Bernardino, which is not necessarily, this wonderful neighborhood. But when I think about like the classes that I took and my class distribution of ethnicity. Now in Southern California, you have everybody. You have Hispanic people, Indian people, like everybody. But I was in advanced placement classes, and I more often than not was the only Black person in those classes. Everybody else was either in a college prep class, and did they really go to college? Did they really get the things that were necessary for that? Or, so, and our school wasn't even, San Bernardino's not the richest area. It's multicultural, but then there were other classrooms that had more advantages so that a higher percentage of their students did go on to college and did have advanced degrees and all of those things. So you have to start taking more things into consideration and really looking at the impact of the things that we're voting for.
Right.
And one thing we know is that what we're doing is working. So, for example, yesterday, I think when we were on this show before, it was Breonna Taylor's birthday.
Right.
Yesterday, they passed in Kentucky the no-knock law. That's Breonna's law. So, the last couple of weeks or whenever this happened, people protesting, a policy change has been made. Now they're looking at that nationwide. So you can't tell me once we come together, the collective, that change cannot happen. I think we have to shift our paradigm and quit saying, well, it's always been this way. It's probably going to always be this way. No, we don't agree with that.
Or just get the small things that they do, give us a little handout and keep it going. No, we have to continue. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. We've been going through it too long, and we can't keep going through it. Like, we don't want to see our kids, if the Lord tarries coming, like, we don't want to see them going through the exact same thing that we're going through. And they painted a different type of picture. We are getting close to closing up because we got some things to do. So I just wanted to see.
Don't end the show on my behalf. I'm gonna behave myself. I can hear my first lady telling me now to stay safe.
I gotta end it real quick because Teresa got us in trouble.
First lady, I'm gonna stay safe. I promise.
But any last thoughts on, again, that documentary was amazing, eye-awakening. And then, of course, once you start seeing stuff, everything start popping up. So I saw a picture of a Black and a white guy. Both of them had the same sentence, right? Well, not sentence because
crime.
Black guy,
They both committed the same crime, but different sentences.
White boy gets 2 years, Black guy gets 26 years. And it's like, what in the world is going on? What can we do, right? So I want everyone to keep that in your mind. Like, what is it that I can do? it starts with us, one, educating ourselves. That's what my belief is. It starts with us educating ourselves. And we're doing that now. We're out, we're protesting, we're talking to, everyone that we need to talk to, but we have to continue this. So do you all, Bishop had a question, hold on. In all seriousness, one real life challenge in light of current events is, how do we...
Joya?
Huh?
Why
you need glasses?
Teresa when she ain't got her glasses on.
Right. Bishop says, in all seriousness, one real challenge in light of current events is how do we as Christians keep from becoming what we hate? And that's racist and prejudice and angry
people. Right.
I think we have to keep the main thing. And that's why in my mind, I keep saying that it's about systems, not people. Because let me say this, if the roles were reversed, and there have been studies on this, when the roles are reversed and people who are typically oppressed are privileged, they start acting like the oppressor. That's just the way
I believe that.
There is a psychological part in all of us that when we're preferred, that we start living up to that and we start oppressing the people who aren't preferred. So when I think about it, what helps me not to become that is to realize that we're all part of the system that could impact us differently if the shoe was on the other foot.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
It's definitely made me have more conversations with people too about salvation, because I think, just like when we first started talking about everything, Teresa was super, super, super mad. And she said, the only thing keeping me from doing what I want to do is the Holy Ghost.
The Holy Ghost.
He's the only one who can change people's hearts. He's the only one who can change people's minds. And the thing is, this is a great time because people are in such unrest, because there are no answers. Like, this is just a great time to really reach out to people and talk to them on their level about God.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's true. That's true. Any last thoughts? Any last questions? Any last anything before we wrap this thing up? I enjoyed watching it with you guys. I enjoyed having this conversation. Any last testament from anybody? Dana, I'll start with you. Matisa, then Teresa. Teresa, I don't think you can talk. Just
my biggest thing is just, educate yourself, do whatever it is you can. Even if your part is small, it is making a change, because it takes a million billion people making one small push, and we will make progress. So do your part.
Yeah, I would just say the same thing. Keep educating ourselves. Because there are a lot of things. We have the passion, but we don't always have the education. We have the zeal, but we don't always have the knowledge. So let's make sure we're educating ourselves. And let's not forget, there are allies. That's what I'm talking about, bringing other people together. They're absolutely, that's Shayna's comment. There are allies. Find them. Become that critical mass wherever you are. And that's what's going to be the tipping point.
Yeah, for me, I just want to switch our whole mindset, African Americans as a whole, from having the ignorance on fire and knowledge on chill. Like, let's get zealous about what we're trying to educate ourselves on knowing policies, on knowing who votes, on knowing about ALEC and how they create votes. I mean, they create laws and statutes and things that impact us. Let's get it where we're the impactors, where we become those individuals who have the weight. We have a voice now. We're not 1/5 of a vote anymore. We have a full vote if we've never had a record. So those who are able to vote, let's do that. Let's vote change. Do that.
Yeah, that's good.
Can I say this too? If you've not seen 13th, because Teresa, you just made me think about this. If you've not seen 13th, y'all, please go watch it. Even when you think about felons, the human rights that we all have, they get none.
They get nothing. They go back to slavery, back to what zero rights as a slave.
So not only is prison not about rehabilitation, but then you come out doubly oppressed and
So the millions of Black men that are there, when they get out, they can't vote.
If they get out,
they can't vote. They can't get loans. They can't be on public assistance.
They're not even considered 1/5 of a person anymore. They don't get 1/5 of a vote. They get 0. So let's vote on their behalf. So all the people that think about, I don't want to vote, I'm gonna stay home. Vote for somebody that's in jail that can't vote.
That's
That's good.
Half of your brother. Go vote on behalf of somebody that got arrested innocently and they can't get out. Go vote.
That's good, Teresa. Go
Finish strong, Teresa. Finish strong.
That is good. Mark, that was good.
Getting a little close though. My pastor's watching. Getting a little close. Getting a little close. I just want to.
That was good advice.
I just want to make sure we're staying where we need to stay as we end, because I want to end strong. So we're gonna give her a second chance. Just give her a minute. Her blood pressure looked high. Okay, her blood pressure looked high.
He said
Bring that down.
blood pressure looked high.
That was a good point.
I promise you, he's gonna take me out one time and I come back and look like Anthony Davis. I'm not playing.
Right, go get the hair.
Let me go get my hair. Let me get my Anthony Davis.
Well, guys, we are family. We are so happy. We're thankful that you guys have joined us. What happened to her?
She probably going to put her other hair
You guys
on.
have joined us this last time. This is our third episode on racism, riots, and reform. We are not going to stop. We are keep on going. We're going to keep on educating ourselves. We are going to keep on not only educating ourselves, but we're going to go out with the education that we have and educate others, because that's what's really important, that whatever we have, then we can go and plant that seed. I read a quote from the late, great Tupac Shakur, and he said that
Stop. Who is Tupac Secure? I need you to say his name right.
I said Shakur.
Who is Tupac? Who is Tupac Secure? Safe and secure from all alarm?
Why is he there?
Secure. That's not how you say his last name.
Secure.
Just call him Pac. Just call him Pac.
There you go.
Tupac Shakur.
It's not secure.
It's Shakur.
It's Shakur.
She said she ain't even heard him before.
She said Tupac Secure.
Just say Pac.
Yeah, there you go.
I gotta supervise y'all. Go ahead with your point about Tupac.
I don't even have it anymore. But anyway, he said, I'm not saying that I'm going to change the world. He said, but I can guarantee that I will spark the brain of those that are going to change the world. So that's why I really want to encourage everyone to not, this is our world. We're not doing the whole world that God has in his hand, but start with your world, your home, your job. Go and educate those people, because if we do, Teresa's not here, but if we do, I promise you guys, we will have.
Wait.
Mark, I go to work.
Before y'all do all of that,
10 minutes, Mark, to go work.
I know. Before y'all do all of that, this is what I need everybody that's watching to do. I need everybody in these comments. You see these ladies on this screen? I need you to make sure that you are following every one of them. You see,
TT.
At Miss TFT, follow her last, follow her. You see Matisa at Matisa Wilburn, follow her. You see Dana at Dana D. Tyler, follow her. You see Joya at Joya Lowry _. Listen to me carefully. They're about to go. But you need to be connected to everything that they're doing. What they're building here with their program is not just something that will give you a healthy distraction on Fridays, but they're putting up things throughout the week that will challenge you, that will inspire you, and you owe it. Listen to the culture. You owe it to your timeline and to your friends to make sure that you are sharing these videos. So you got 10 more seconds. If you've not shared it, share it. If it ends, that's fine. It's on YouTube. Copy and paste the link, send it to your group text, your friends at work, and we promise you that if you do these things, you will have
all you.
Very good. We love you.
Thank you, Mark. Call me.